Hey all, I'm just doing this video as kind of a initial thoughts and review on this Otter Island floating platform swim dock thing, whatever. I looked on YouTube, didn't really see anything other than what seemed to be commercials for it or by the company, and thought somebody might care about what an actual owner's initial impressions are. When we got this, my wife and I saw it at like a sportsman show type thing. We had no intention of buying it. It was really an impulse buy. We kind of knew something like this exists, but never really thought about it. But when we saw it, we thought, you know, I think that would be pretty cool in our situation. This thing measures 10 feet long by about 8 feet wide. It's got a collapsible little table here. My son here is showing these built-in benches, so they have 3 different positions plus the complete flat positions. Yeah. So it's got 2 of those. The table does collapse flat, but the pole goes down through the center of it, and while it's on the ground on the lawn here, it can't go completely flat. Once it's on the water, that won't be a problem. Has these reflectors. I believe there's 2 on each side. Indeed. A very, very helpful no diving sign that I'm sure without that you'd be diving all the time and breaking yourself in half. It's made out of a very, I don't know what this exactly is, this material, but it's a very incredibly durable plastic material, kind of similar to PVC would be my guess. It is textured, it's not overly smooth, so it's not going to be slippery. It's got all sorts of drainage channels, so water or I don't know, bird guts or whatever lands on this should wash away fairly quickly. It does have a foldable ladder, which my son is showing right there. Now that ladder, when I set this up, I'm going to lock it into the down position. One thing I do appreciate about this item is that everything is recessed. There are really no sharp or square edges on this. The ladder, everything is all completely, well, this little cap fell off, but even that won't really be touchable by little fingers or hands. This raft does weigh 300 pounds, so it's going to take some muscle to get it into the water. We're going to have 4 people working on it, I believe, but it does have some convenient handles somewhere around right here. So there's 4 handles. You get 4 people out there. Maybe we don't even need people as strong as Mac there. So puts it at about 75 pounds a person, that's reasonable. So as I said, it weighs about 300 pounds. It is completely filled with foam as well. So this is not just like some plastic shell that's going to collapse or kind of get messed up or deform or anything. So it weighs 300 pounds, but it will supposedly support 3,000 pounds. I have no intention of testing that, but overall, I will say that the initial build quality, I'm impressed with the hardware that I've seen. Everything seems to be really durable. I don't really have any concerns that things are going to crack or break or just fall apart. I have installed the anchor kit. I'll do another video on that. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. I will say the instructions for setting it up, they're adequate. They're not great. You're going to look at it, you may have some questions. I had questions. I got it done, but they could be better. Overall, it's pretty simple. It's just kind of think of like IKEA instructions, although not as clear, not as informative. So I don't have it on the water yet. I'm hoping to get that out later today. I will post further thoughts on that, but these are my initial impressions. One of the reasons we picked it was that we wanted to have something that would last 15 years, something that the kids could have a bunch of fun with. We got some great neighbor kids up here too, so we thought that they could enjoy themselves playing with the kids and everything, and mom and dad will get out there too. The center little table, it does have room for an umbrella, so that's and cup holders. Thank you, Mac. So that's something that, you know, we'll probably invest in that. When we got this, maybe I mentioned already, but we had about 24 inches of ice out on this lake. So it was a terrible winter. Another reason we wanted to get this is because we wanted something that we wouldn't have to take in every time we left for the weekend. We wanted to be able to leave this out in the
we don't
water.
want something like
We
that floating.
did choose, these colors are not my favorite. They were not my first choice with the yellow and blue. There's more of a tan and a green, which I think looks better, but the
This
thought
stands out.
process was, I wanted to be, with my kids out there, neighbor kids out there, I wanted this to be as visible as possible. I wanted this to be seen from across the lake if necessary. I don't want some boater to come by and crash into my kids, or, you know, I want, if they see this big thing, I want them to at least, you know to slow down, because there may be people around there. So that's why we went with this color. I don't think it's necessarily the prettiest, and it is going to be kind of obnoxious on the water, but if obnoxious means that people are not going to crash into it or hit the people who are using it, then I think that's a fair trade-off. Post any questions or comments you have, and I'll do what I can to answer them. Quick video on this anchor kit for this Otter Island swim raft that we've got. This was delivered, I don't know, about a month ago. We haven't had a chance to get it into the water because we had a late winter and that sucked. I guess late spring. So this is the Otter Island swim raft, just on shore at the moment. I just got the seats and the table and the ladder on. This is part of the anchor system. I haven't seen any videos on this, so I figured I'd do a real quick one to show, and if I get it right, I'll probably even upload it. So basically, this is a large thing, goes on the bottom. This, you open up here, fill it up with sand to provide some weight. Then what it has is this kind of bolt and anchor system. So this goes up above, I believe. This will go down through, about like that, and then on the bottom, got another washer and a nylon lock nut to keep it in place. I've also got some other bungee thingies that I will be explaining once I get that going. Bolt attached, nut and washer secured from the bottom, from the top, and from the bottom here. I do not have this filled with sand. I mean, I do. I'm totally strong. Look how I can do this with 2 fingers because I'm so strong. Box for the other parts of this jet ski going by over there. For the anchor kit, basically. So there's the anchor. I was kind of surprised by how much hardware there is. It's not a bad thing. The idea here, I've got this little paper in my hand that might show you a little bit better, but what we do is we attach these 2 kind of bungee lines to this, and then the bungee lines we attach to these chains, attached to these U-ring clip things, and then this will attach in 2 places to this floating dock. The reason for the bungees is that if you kind of have your wave motion going up and down, the bungees will absorb some of that shock so that you don't have this anchor being lifted off the bottom. So your craft is left, dock, floaty thingy is less likely to get lifted and float away. So that's the theory. The hardware seems really heavy duty. I did pay around $200 for this anchor kit. Figured if I was buying the raft that I'd expect to last hopefully 15 years or so, may as well not cheap out on the anchor kit for that. So the idea here, this dumb piece of paper, or maybe I'm dumb, but you can see kind of this, that raft, and my son holding the paper has these anchor points, these attachment points, so we'll attach it like that, to there. Then every one of you will be extremely excited. I'll keep you updated. This video because I didn't quite understand how this works, so I figured, as I figured it out, I'd show you. So here's the kind of elastic bungee cord, and what the idea here is, this raft has these 2 little plastic mounts on the bottom. You have your chain, which is attached with one of these carabiners right here. Carabiner will clip on under here, and on the other side as well. And I have 2 sets of these. So we'll have 2 sets of these, 2 sets of all that, going to the large anchor over there, which my son is dutifully filling with sand to provide weight. Keep you posted. So the Otter Island is in place. Went in without too much of a hassle, floated pretty easily once we got it onto the water. Did have about 4 kids running around jumping off of it yesterday. Obviously no problem with any of that. My eldest son says he likes it a lot more than the inflatable raft that we had. It's in pretty shallow to shore right now, but that's just to kind of get the kids used to it as they become more comfortable with our swimming area and stuff. We'll move it out further.